Home. I know the smells, I know the sounds, I know the plants and I know the animals. But it's not just a place, it's a feeling. It's warm. It's home.
Finally get to talk about my home. And for the last 2 years to go, and really more for the last 4 years that we've been, Apparent Winds has been around, to finally be in my home where I get to ask people that either I've known of or I haven't known of, and stories that I've known of and others that have come up. It's really exciting, it's really inspiring, and I also think that it adds, for me, in my own endeavor to understand how I love my home and my endeavor to understand how other people feel about their lives and their homes. This has just been a really special time.
Apparent Winds, an adventure of a lifetime. A global expedition dedicated to collecting stories of environmental and cultural preservation while conducting marine research aboard sailing vessel Resilience.
After 3 months on the hard, the day had finally come to relaunch Resilience. There's something that just doesn't feel right when a boat is out of the water. Equally, it feels so good to return a boat back to the water. In the water, a boat fully becomes what it's meant to be. On March 5th, Resilience finally returned to the water. It became once again what she was meant to be. The day was monumental for us.
There's a lot going on, even though we're back in the water. We have so much boat work left. A lot of tiny details as well.
Putting on our logo, the first one, we need to put on a few. Otherwise, it just says Resilience, and people get confused. So we're putting on our Apparent Winds logo here, and on the starboard side, on the other side of the boat. We used to have it here. We haven't had it in a while, so this is sort of like, I feel like, opening for business once again. And then we'll have some other stuff on other parts of the boat. So this is the sticker. I need to get it lined up. All right, so tell me if I'm doing something stupid, Kira. I'm gonna peel this. You ready for it? Here it comes. Okay. So now we just pull back. Help me. Yeah. I guess because it's two different colors, so they lined up the two things for us, and then we...
Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's so much better than the last one.
It's beautiful. What's the name of the store we got this from?
Sign Design.
Sign Design. Thank you, Sign Design.
Nice.
Looks beautiful.
Being back in the low country, right, like we've been working, and honestly, the first October to now, I haven't had the connection that I've wanted to have with being home. We're working 7 days a week, we're working full days. I really haven't taken any time. And just recently, this past week, we've been starting to actually film with people again. A little bit before, but really no, it was really this week we finally started to dive into it. And honestly, it's stressful because there's so much work that still needs to be done. But also it's just been invigorating.
How was your day on the boat? How was the boat work?
I had a good day.
You were on it.
I was on it. I was on top of things, and there was music going, and music always just makes my life better. So if there's music, I will be in a good mood. Unless it's sad music, and then I'll be in a sad mood. It's like, I can set my mood with music, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Noted.
Yeah. You trying to like make me sad or
Trying to
angry?
manipulate your moods.
All right. Prentice Brower, how was your day?
My day was good. Don't eat that. My day, yeah. I don't know. It's been a little crazy. Honestly, that's how my day's been. So it's been really good. It's been a little wild, but days have been wild. Now we got to go back to the house, change real fast, and go meet Amy Armstrong with South Carolina Environmental Law Project. So I ran into Amy Armstrong actually outside of a grant presentation. She was up presenting for her organization to get a grant, and so were we. And she walked out the conference room when I was walking in, and we got introduced. And I thought, whoa, that's like exactly who I should be talking to. One thing we're talking about to Amy that I really wanted to talk about, that's always on my mind. It's on the mind of my friends, it's on the mind of a lot of folks here. I mean, it's a constant conversation in Charleston and throughout the Low Country is development. And so it's interesting talking to somebody that's, on the front lines of defending areas that either have an environmental or cultural, significance, and talking about what it's like to lose those areas in the first place and what it's like to fight to keep them.
My name is Amy Armstrong, and I'm the Executive Director of the South Carolina Environmental Law Project, or SCELP. I've seen a lot in 22 years, good and bad, and I would say, one thing anybody that's lived here for a long period of time has recognized is that we've got incredible growth and development pressures in our state, and it's from the mountains to the marshes. South Carolina is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing state in the nation, and so those kind of development pressures cannot go unnoticed because we see it popping up all around us, and it can be disheartening to see so much of that growth, especially when it comes to sensitive areas and in areas that exacerbate pollution and flooding, and how those projects impact communities. Because we're a species that lives on this planet, but we don't live on it in isolation. We're dependent on other forms of life for our own health and well-being, and so as we start eliminating habitat for wildlife to exist, that's going to affect us. Right. It does have ripple effects, and we're losing species at a pretty dramatic rate.
God, so many people have said that Earth is just like a spaceship floating through the galaxy, and we are on a ship floating through the ocean. I mean, same but different, and you have to take care of what's taking care of you. And whether it's resilience, whether it's the earth, I think it's really, really important to give back to what is really allowing you to exist in the way that you do.
What level of loss are we okay with, I think is the question. South Carolina's answer to me seems to be that we're okay with kind of any amount of loss as long as we're bringing in industry and business and jobs, and we get a mitigation package that makes the environmental groups content. Right. And I disagree with that approach just from a kind of philosophical standpoint, that once we lose these areas, they're gone forever. We don't get them back. We are transient and on this earth and on this land, and rethinking our relationship with the land, I think would do us a lot of good. I mean, and I think like a real basic example is, you go in, you buy this land, you're gonna develop it, you're gonna put a house there. Do you cut down every single tree, even though they've been there for longer than you have been on this planet? And will take well past your existence to ever come back if they are ever able to. Growing up in South Carolina, we always came to the coast, of course, as a kid, and like that was the most fun time of the whole year for me. Going down to the beach and playing in the ocean all day, just being outdoors, on the creek, in the water, just touching, feeling, breathing, smelling, tasting the natural environment has always been something that has given me a lot of rejuvenation. Just that, experience of connecting and realizing, I'm a very, very small part of something much larger, which is the beauty and the wonder of this place that I call home. And so after college, I worked for the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. I managed this, it was a dream job. I managed this population of endangered red-cockaded woodpeckers. And so I got paid to run around in the woods all day, chasing birds around, following them, banding them, catching them, climbing up trees and drilling cavities for them in these longleaf pine trees. And that really, even further, seeded me in this deep desire to protect the natural systems. And so after almost 4 years at DNR, I got in a car accident, and that left me a paraplegic. And obviously it was a traumatic and devastating experience. And after I started, picking myself back up and trying to, deciding I do want to continue living life, but I can't chase birds around in the woods anymore. And what could I do that would still be working towards the same goal of conservation? What would that look like? What could I possibly envision? And I would have never, ever thought about being a lawyer in my wildest dreams. At first, I bristled at the idea, and then I kind of like a light went off of, wait a second, I could be an environmental lawyer. And that would be something that I could still do that would be aimed at conservation and the things that I feel so passionate about, in a place where I thought maybe I could actually really make a difference here. It's been an amazing tool to be able to use. Sometimes it's the last thing standing between environmental destruction and the public good. And that's one of the things that I saw really pretty quickly. What I would love to see is to have, our laws and policies in the state prioritize natural systems that sustain life.
It's a really fragile thing, and I don't think people realize that. I don't think people realize that once a law is put into place, if somebody challenges it, it can be changed.
I don't think a lot of folks know how much that fight takes and how relentless it is. And we need 1,000 Amy's, 100,000 Amy's, in order to really, I think, do what we need to do.
You gotta fight and protect what you love. And I think there's a lot of people that are passionate about the Low Country that are fighting and protecting for what they love, like Amy Armstrong.
I don't know what it is as far as an evolution or transformation or development, at least, of our mission and ourselves, our perspective of what we're doing, but to dive back into our regular work, to dive back into interviewing people in this area, which is home, I feel really excited about what we have going, and I'm inspired, and I feel very justified in the work that we're doing.
If you want to access more content, consider joining our community on Patreon. You can find details in the video description. Thank you so much for watching.